So we have upper thread tension, which is, the upper is the one that goes through your needle from above, and that's what you set with your digital settings, like that screen that you showed me on your sewing machine. Now for the lower tension, which is the bobbin, there's a way to set the tension on this. You got to get this right first before this will work properly. So if you with this in here, your thread goes underneath this band right here, and this has a way to adjust its tension. So there's a screw here that holds this on to the bobbin, but this one here adjusts how much tension or pressure it's putting on the thread. And so when you adjust it, you're going to do it clockwise to increase the tension and counterclockwise to reduce the tension. And so when you do trial and error testing of it, you want to do in small increments. So if let's say the tension wasn't tight enough, you want to turn it a quarter turn from here to here, and then put it back in your sewing machine and test it out. If that doesn't work, you need a little more, then go, obviously go a quarter more from here to here. And if the tension's not too tight, of course you're going to go the opposite. You're going to go to a quarter turn this direction, counterclockwise, to loosen. And you just do it in quarter increments. And so one way to kind of preset it to know that it's in the ballpark before you do your trial and error on your sewing is to take your hook out. So your machine under here, you take your hook out, this whole assembly, and you put your bobbin case in it. You got to have it this thing at the top, and then it'll snap in. There we go. So now that it's in there, I lay it down like this and pick it up, and it should start letting thread out when it gets about an angle like this. You won't be able to pick it straight up. It's just going to be kind of like right here, and then the thread will start coming out. So that's how you know the tension's about in the right ballpark. So no threads moving out of it yet, no threads coming out of it yet, and then right about here, thread's starting to let go. And my fingers, see my hand moving up, and see how it's tilted? Doesn't get any higher than that, but it doesn't get any lower than the thread comes out. That's about the right tension you want for this specific machine. And I think you have the same, if you have a full hook assembly like this on your machine. I can't remember, I think the Bernina B435 is the same as this machine. If you have what's called a half hook, if you pull this out and there's only half of a hook and the other half stays in the machine, then it'll be a little bit different. You'll be picking it up like a yo-yo and letting it go, and the speed, and it'll hang there. It won't fall down like as quick as this one, because this is a full hook. A lot of more metal, so a lot more weight to it. And so if it's a half hook, you'll actually let it go, and and you'll have to do like jerk it just a little bit, and then it'll descend. You'll jerk it, and it'll descend. You jerk it a little bit, and it'll descend. And that's how you know on the one that has a half a hook assembly is the right tension. But I think hopefully you got this full hook, and that way my technique that I'm showing you here will be accurate for your machine. So nothing moves, no threads coming out, and then as I get, the angle starts to get a little higher right about there, now the thread starts to come out. But I can never get it completely vertical. I can't get it to this point. If it gets vertical, then the tension is too tight. And if the thread starts coming out when it's low like this, then it's too loose. The thread's still not coming out, and then right about there, the thread's coming out. And that's about the right tension. And so that tension on there is going to be different for different sizes of thread. This is a Tex 45 thread. And when you put the Tex 70 thread in, of course, it's a little bit thicker thread. And so you might have to get 2 bobbins and have each bobbin set for each specific thread size. In my case, what I have set for this bobbin here for my Tex 45 thread, which is in here right now, when I use the thicker thread, the Tex 70 ends up being the same setting. So I'm okay, but every machine's a little bit different. But that's something to mind. You don't want to have to keep changing this every time, the setting on this every time you change a thread. And so what people do is they'll get two bobbins and have one specifically set for one size thread and one specifically set for another size thread, and that way they don't have to do the trial and error anymore because they've already did all the trial and error. But anyhow, it's a lot of information. I hope I'm not overwhelming you.